Welcome to the Men Don't Talk podcast. My name's Reggie. Big shout out to our sponsors, the Loved Ones Forever. Before I introduce tonight's guest, I'm just going to tell you what Loved Ones Forever do. Loved Ones Forever are a company that regenerates photographs from damage, fire, flood, etc. So, if you want that service or you need that service, give us a shout. They're our sponsor. They're there to help. So with that, I would like to talk about the Men Don't Talk podcast. Tonight we have a guest that's he's got a fantastic message and journey, and he's come along to share his experience with us. And also as well, don't forget, share, subscribe, like. We love your feedback. So I love all the feedback that's been going on, but we need more. Share it to your friends and pass it on, and kind of if you fancy coming on the show, give us a DM, give us a shout, talk about a topic. What men don't talk about is really important. I would like to introduce you now to Grant.
Hi everyone. Before we start, can I give a disclaimer?
Go for it.
I've been using hard drugs for a long time, and the serotonin and endorphins in my body are not quite balanced. So during this podcast, if there's silence, it's because the regulations in my body aren't quite leveled out yet. So I get quite emotional sometimes. So it's a bit of a forewarning. If it happens, you're prepared.
That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Relax, be comfortable.
I'm chilled.
You're in a good place.
Thank you.
I really identified with that feeling of kind of understanding your feelings and detachment and stuff like that. So, I get that. I've been around for a little while in recovery.
Yeah.
And I kind of, it does come.
What, the equilibrium?
Yeah, you will find moments of it. You know what, it will build up over a period of time,
right.
But you will feel that. It's kind of something which I've discovered only when I come into recovery, that journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
That kind of that keeps me strong today. What I'd like to ask you is, we know your name. Where'd you come from?
I hate that question. I absolutely hate that question, because my dad worked for UNICEF, the UN Children's Fund, and so he bounced around the whole world, and I bounced around with him.
Oh, right.
So my parents are Australian.
Yeah,
they were traveling the world, and I think my mum was quite young, but in their early 20s, and they were in Europe when I was born. My brother was born in Paris, so I lived in the UK for the early part of my life. Then I lived in Europe, Switzerland, then New York, then Australia. I spent the last, I can't believe it, but it's been about 30 years in London, even though I haven't been living. I've been pretty much secluded. But I've been in London. I can't believe it's 30 years, but yeah, it is.
So a well-travelled childhood.
Yeah, I don't know about the well bit, but travelled, yeah.
Yeah, well, explain the well bit.
Well, I mean, it was because I was bouncing around every year. Pretty much my dad moved every year, yeah, so I changed school every year. So, which is good in a way, because I fucked up at every school I was in, so it gave me a new start. But at the same time, I never had that continuation of friendship.
Was you naughty?
Yeah.
Was you a little fucker?
I don't know if I was a little fucker. I did well at school, funny enough. Yeah. Academically, I did remarkably well, but I could have done a lot better. But no, I did okay at school. The trouble started after school. But my drug use started in school, but I still managed to maintain my
What
academic
was
record.
your first experience with drugs?
What was my first experience? I think it was weed. Yeah, it was. It was weed in New York. Someone gave me a spliff in high school. And actually, the first time I smoked it, I felt absolutely nothing. It was the second time I floated back to class, down the corridor, and I loved it, yeah. But, I think it was weed. I think it was weed before alcohol even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was alcohol.
Was it? Yeah, that seems to be the standard.
Mine was alcohol. I come from a Peckham family, so there was always parties. It was all mental.
Nice.
Big family.
Yeah.
massive family, all cousins and fucking all.
Yeah, no, saying now you've reminded me. I did have alcohol, at a younger age, but I never thought of. I mean, I just had it during dinner or something. It wasn't like I wasn't using it to alter my consciousness.
Yeah, we used to just drink.
Yeah,
it was. But then also as well, we learned that our parents would, because we only learn from our parents. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess our parents and yes.
Yeah, we only learn from our parents.
Yeah,
because we've because what it is, otherwise we wouldn't grow up. I mean, we wouldn't grow up with half the morals and the values that we have if we come from certain families. Some of us come from families that are totally dysfunctional.
Yeah,
yeah,
most of us, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't understand that dysfunction, and then we add that as a contributory factor to kind of what we do.
Yeah.
It's like, your first joint, would you have felt that first joint that you felt the floaty feeling?
Yeah.
That you would end up where you ended up?
No. I mean, that was just a bit of peer pressure. It was like smoking cigarettes. I did it to be part of the crowd, as you do, I mean, I was susceptible to peer pressure anyway, I think, perhaps more so than other kids, because I wanted to be liked. And I wanted to fit in. So I think, like, even at that early age, well, not that early, but in my early teens, at that stage, I was still seeking approval, perhaps more so than, I know teenagers go through that whole teenage thing, but I feel like I needed, I don't know, I mean, I'm trying to work out why I am the way I am, and I've sort of zeroed it. It's very difficult to see cause and effect. Yeah, like at the moment, I've narrowed in on I was a twin, and when I was born, I spent the first 6 months of my life in hospital because I was the second twin. My other twin was fine. He went home, and apparently he bonded with my mother, and I never did. This is from my dad's told me. Yeah, and I've sort of zeroed in. That's the cause of my problem personality or my addiction. Whether that's true or not, who knows? I'm, apparently the first couple of years of life are the most important as far as formative of personality goes.
So when you heard that from your father, that there was that lack of bonding.
Yeah.
Exactly. Was it easy just to connect the dots and think I'm different?
Not at the time. Not when he told me. This is in hindsight. This is only a recent revelation. Yeah, and it probably won't even. It might not. I might change my mind this time next week. I probably think it's something else. I do like the whys. I do, which I think might help me in recovery actually, because I'm interested in why I am the way I am. It interests me. I want to discover myself, and I want to discover why I've led the life I've led.
Mm-hmm. My sister was a twin with my brother. My brother died.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my brother's dead, and that whole thing about because I've got 4 sisters, and I always thought to myself, like, why aren't I treated different?
Why aren't you treated different?
Yeah.
Different to them?
Yeah, because I always felt that obviously I'm the only boy that survived out of that. Okay. And my brother died, bless him. Right. I always felt that I should be treated a little bit different.
Oh, and you weren't?
And I felt I wasn't. What we feel and what actually happened are 2 different things. So what you felt about your disconnect with your mother, and what it actually was, 2 different things.
Yeah, because I'm the opposite. I always feel, why was I treated different? Not why wasn't I? Do you know what I mean? I always feel like I was treated differently, like in a negative way.
Maybe that's 5 years in recovery that teaches you that. You understand what I mean? Yeah, maybe that is a bit like, so you're in school, you got this, because you would have always been different though, because you was in the States. So,
well, that's a good point. Yeah, I was always the outsider.
Yeah, of course you would be. Yeah, because obviously your accent's going to be different.
Exactly. And the vocabulary, believe it or not, between.
So if you spent time in Australia, you spent time here, you spent time there, your accent's going to be all over the gaff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can, when you come into South London or North London, you can tell there's different accents.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you
I
go,
definitely don't have a South London
when
accent.
you go into Kent,
just as well.
Yeah, when you go into Kent, they've got a different accent.
Yeah.
When you go into Essex, they've got a different accent.
Yeah,
When you go further up there, you start having a different twang.
Yeah.
And then you get the northern, and then you get the southern, and you get the west of England, and all different West Country and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you was different.
Yeah, but I mean, I was different well before then. We're talking the teens now. I mean, I did go to Switzerland when I was 7, and then, but I mean, I don't know. I think I felt different well before the traveling part of my life, if you get me. I mean, I don't know. As I said, yeah, I think I felt a little bit disconnected, and I don't know, like quite well before that. I mean, I also had a brother like you. Well, my twin, yeah, he passed away when I was in last year of uni, 20, when he was 21. Well, we were 21. And that definitely affected me. But I still feel like what affects me in adulthood is nowhere near as dramatic as what's affected me in early childhood. I don't know why I feel like that, but I just feel like you've already formed your personality at that age. Do you get me? In my 20s, like it was a hard thing for me to deal with, and I did some terrible things as a consequence of that. Well, not as a consequence of the way I reacted to that.
I think my own personal experience with that is that I think that you don't get your own personality until you start growing up.
Wow, so I've got a long way to go then. So it hasn't even formed yet.
Exactly.
Wow, that's nice to know. Actually.
Yeah, you understand what I mean, though, because what it is from an early age, like I've experienced like drugs from a very early age.
Yeah.
First drink at 9, hard drugs 12, going up to cocaine and more abuse at 15, going up to, and then I was up and running. It didn't matter what was going inside me.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter what you take, it's that like what it does to you. You know, what it does, like constantly changing the way you feel. And, you know, I get that because it was far easy for me to change the way I felt by using something.
But why did you want to change the way you feel?
Because I didn't like who I was.
Yeah, but why didn't you like the way you were?
Because I didn't know who I was.
Is it because you didn't know,
no.
or you knew you just didn't like it?
My perception of myself was warped.
Yeah,
it was like, say, if you got all your thinking,
and
you turn it upside down, all your thinking's going to be upside down. I never had no one there to write.
But was it warped or was it real? I mean, maybe the perception of yourself was actually the true realization of who you were at that moment.
From my investigation and my analyzing of what I was. Say, for instance, if you look from the age of, say, 0 to 12. A lot of that is character building. Yeah. So a lot of that is character building stuff. So what it is, your character can be either built or defeated.
Yeah.
You know, when you see someone that has lost every bit of will. And the kind of their head's always down.
You understand
what I mean?
Yeah.
That there for me was how I felt inside, not the way I looked.
I was kind of fortunate in that I quite well, not quickly, but especially towards the last decade of my life, there wasn't much hiding how I felt inside from my outside. They pretty much matched. I looked like shit and I felt like shit.
Yeah.
And I lost the ability to, in fact, I didn't even care about how people perceived me. I really didn't. Maybe I did inside, but I'd given up on the trying to hide. So that's what I'm trying to say.
You get that disconnect, don't you, from when you're younger? What you feel inside is different from what you look. So everyone sees you as a happy person.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone sees you a happy kid.
Yeah.
You ain't got a care in the world, but really you're fucking fighting inside. You know what I mean? You're having a battle.
Yeah. You don't know you're having a battle.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No.
That's just normal life.
Yeah. That's what you perceive, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You're totally unaware of what's really, because you're just living, aren't you?
Yeah. I think with me, by the time I got to 12 and I took my first LSD, that I got to that age and I thought, I really, really wanted to be away from the world.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to get in my head. I wanted to get as far away from my head as possible.
And what did LSD do? Because LSD is sort of an introspective drug. It sort of puts you right into your head.
It put me in another world.
Another world. Yeah,
and I didn't want to be in the world I was in.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You know,
I didn't like acid. Did you like acid?
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I loved being in that world.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was like
I found it scary.
It was like the wibbly wobbly world.
Wow. That's interesting.
I could spend hours by myself.
Yeah.
Just walking around talking.
Just hallucinating, basically.
Talking to letterboxes and bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, having right.
And you loved that.
I loved it. Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, I loved it. That was where my mind wanted to be. I really didn't want to be in this world.
Escapism.
Yeah, I really didn't want to be in this world.
Well, it's like the ketamine users.
And I took a hell of a lot of it to a point that by the time I'm in my 14, 15, I couldn't string a sentence together.
Well, when you weren't on it.
Well, when I stopped taking it.
Yeah. You're lucky you didn't do long-term brain damage, to be honest.
Well, I couldn't
if you haven't
really have a conversation. I couldn't run a conversation. Wow. It was stopped very quickly.
Yeah,
and that's what that's a
consequence of what the
LSD
did to your brain.
And by the time I was 19, I started looking at learning how to read and learning how to talk properly. You know, I never had no vocabulary. It was gone.
Wow, yeah, it's a strong drug, obviously.
It was gone. Misunderstood as well, because I couldn't get nothing out, so I'm misunderstood. You know?
Yeah.
So when you started after the weed, how'd you get on from that?
I went straight to the needle at about 17. Yeah, I had a fight with my girlfriend, and I had an Australian guy. This is in Gloucester Road in London, actually. I had a mate. He wasn't a mate. He was a mate of a mate. I'd never met him before, but he was on the pin. And he was, I used to tell him, listen, don't leave them lying around the house and that, because they frightened me to some extent. But there was an attraction there as well. And I just had a fight with this guy and gave him my arm. He gave me a hit. And
that was it?
That was it, yeah.
Wow. 17,
yeah, I think, 17. Yeah. And
so you kind of cut out all of the, you know, when we talk about progression, you know, we cut out like the, you know, it's like me, like I've heard of people that, they would go straight for crack instead of cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You understand what I mean? They just cut out all that stuff in between it.
Yeah.
You know, you've gone for the big one, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like with any drug. Like, when I was younger, we used to experiment with different drugs, and there was this thing called a bottle.
Yeah.
And we called it a bucket.
Okay.
Right. And you used to get like I won't tell anyone how to do, well, I will. You cut the end of a bottle and then you put some silver foil on the top.
Yeah.
And then you put your Rocky or ash in the top.
Yeah.
And you get a bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what you do is you light it and then draw the bottle up and the smoke goes down in it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you put your mouth over it.
Right.
And then you gush it like.
It's like a homemade bong.
Yeah, that's right. But you get all of that in one ear.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you cough, right?
Yeah.
And you go, and nothing comes out, and then you go.
Yeah.
And then all the smoke comes out, and you trip.
Yeah. Is this on weed?
Yeah, it's on weed.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I always looked at that kind of.
Yeah, you wanted to do it. You didn't want to do it slowly.
I remember someone said I was in Grazing Road, and there was no coke in there, and there was only rocks. So I started fucking cutting up and doing some shit splits, and and I remember like I spent fucking 3 days, and then my mate found me, and he said, right, Reg, he gave me like an ounce of coke and a brass, and he said, you ain't moving.
Yeah, that's a good friend. You have to give me his phone number.
Yeah, and then after that, I thought, well, I'm never going to go back to smoking that again. Like, so I stick to fucking coke. Yeah. And it kind of worked for me. But so when
I'm surprised that the criminal justice system makes such a distinction between coke and crack. I mean, it's the same stuff at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And, you know, people that are addicted to coke or crack, maybe crack hits your brain in a different way or something.
I mean, the actual, for a crime, you get the same bird. Whether it's coke or crack.
I don't know. I think it's more socially acceptable cocaine, and I'm sure the judges and the jury and all that, they take that into account.
Because speed was at one point they could only work on the impurity of the amphet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, say for instance, you get caught with a key of speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
It's on purity, is it?
Yeah, it's on purity.
Okay.
So, majority of the time, like I know, like when you used to get a base and you used to kind of buy that, and then you can knock that up into 7 or 9. Yeah, so you can knock a bar out of that. So there'll only be a couple of ounces in it anyway, and you can only get done for that.
Okay. Cool.
You know,
Yeah.
And they did that with pills as well until they changed it to the amount of pills that you have.
What the number?
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then they changed it by, and the thing is with that, you know, like that type of life. I mean,
I wish they did that with crack, because I mean, I got caught with 128 bits and they never checked the quality. If they had done, it would have probably been about 5 bits.
Yeah,
because the quality was just shit.
That's when they start changing stuff.
Yeah,
you know. So after that, like when you had that needle, that first needle,
yeah,
what it did?
It put my head on the carpet, and I literally could not lift my head off the floor. I was literally could not get my head off the floor, and that lasted a good couple of hours.
Because when I come from an estate, and heroin just it was already there.
Yeah.
And they was chasing it. Yeah, they was smoking it.
Yeah.
And they all vomited.
Oh yeah.
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 And I was sitting in a room with them, and they all going like that, and I'm going, that ain't for me.
Yeah.
Right. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of put me off. Yeah. And it's not for me. All my friends are dead now.
Yeah. It's a terrible.
All my friends from that estate are dead.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
Tragic. Yeah.
You know. So.
Well, yeah, it definitely makes you throw up. I mean, you soon get tolerance to it, and it doesn't do anything towards the end. But yeah, the early days, yeah, you're throwing up because you're allergic to it, aren't you?
Well,
it's a poison.
Yeah,
it's a poison.
That's a weird thing though. Like, so majority of long-term users, addicts, yeah, because you know someone could use it and never ever do it again. There's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, there's a possibility. They go, no, that's not for me. I won't do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah. Right, but there's a lot of guys and girls that they use something to a point where it doesn't work no more.
Yeah,
but they can't stop using it.
Well, yeah, they've got a physical habit.
They've got a physical habit.
Yeah, they can't just stop, because when they stop, they're sick.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Your body's so, yeah. I mean, you may not feel it. Like you may be whatever injecting heroin every day and not getting a buzz out of it, but because your tolerance is the body is just amazing.
Was you hooked then?
Yeah, I got a habit very quickly within a week of my first.
Within
hit.
1 week.
Yeah. I didn't know I had a habit, obviously, because you don't know what withdrawing is until you have your first withdrawal. So I just thought I had a bit of the flu. And then my mate said to me, no, mate, you're withdrawing. And then obviously my brain clicked. And then obviously after a few withdrawals, you figure out what a cluck is.
Yeah. So then someone because I've been around for a while, so it's not new to me.
Yeah.
You know, but the like that kind of when someone turns around and says to you, you're having a withdrawal.
Yeah. And
what do you go?
You got better get some heroin.
What, you or them?
No, me. Yeah. I was like, well, if heroin's going to fix this, let me get some heroin inside me.
That's insane, isn't it? Yeah, that's insane.
Well, it's logic in its own way.
But the thing is, that's insane, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you knew by then. Yeah, like by then that in order to get off this shit, you got to go through that. So
I don't think my brain even contemplated getting off it. My brain contemplated getting out of the trouble I was in. I just wanted to get well, and I knew that all I had to do was go to Earl's Court and buy some smack, and I'd be fine. And the consequences of it, they didn't. The consequences of using didn't even, like, multiple clucks later. They don't really hit you, do they? I mean, they didn't hit me until a long time later, really, before I started. And then, of course, you use drugs to hide the consequences. So, really, for me personally, I've only become aware. Like, I mean, I've known what I've done, but there's knowing and knowing, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's in recovery. It's only since I put the drugs down that I'm really aware of the consequences of my using.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, because what it is, you're sat with just your memories of it. Yeah. Or if you got any left.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, if you've got memories left.
Yeah.
You know.
But you can see the damage even without the memories, because, well, I don't know. For me personally, I know that I've got children that are adults out there that I've totally neglected. I don't have any memories of neglecting them because I wasn't around, but I'm aware now of my behavior or lack of. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So,
do you know? Let me tell you from experience. There's zero what you can do about your behavior, but what you can do today is kind of make a better life today. See what it is, all that stuff there, you can't, if you had a time machine and go back and try to make it right, you'd have to go back to when you was in school having that first joint and go, look, you know what?
If only.
Because what it is, you already knew the solution, didn't you? You know, you've already been
I didn't know at the time.
You didn't know the time.
I didn't know at the time what the solution was. I mean, now I know that there is a solution, but it's taken me decades to realize that there is a way out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've,
So what year was it in the, when you was 17?
70, about 80.
80.
Yeah.
So I was 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a baby.
I was a year away from my first drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that like a dinner time drink, or was that
No.
like sneaking down to the liquor cabinet? Or
it was when my grandfather died.
Oh, really?
I experienced the grief what my mother was going through,
and how did you know alcohol was going to help?
Because I was told that it would make me happy.
Oh, you were told?
No, I was told it would make them happy because they were sad.
Right.
I was already.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you picked up that people drink when they're sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subconsciously.
So I went down to the cupboard, and there was a G Plan drinks cupboard, and I've gone back to the clear liquor in the back, and it went.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And I kept on going
even
down.
At that age.
Kept on going back down there again and again.
No way.
So but because I like the feeling.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you throw up? I guess you did. No. It just calmed you down.
It just calmed me down. Yeah.
Yeah, you must have.
Yeah, but then I wanted more.
Well, yeah, if it worked, why wouldn't you?
That's right. Yeah. And then I kind of stopped doing that. And then there was other things that I was picking up. I was fucking always hoarding shit, you know, like collecting key rings. I had fucking key rings like that.
Yeah.
You know, And
are you sure you're not just allocating that as a problem? Maybe you liked key rings.
I did like key rings, yeah. But the thing is, I don't know, I can connect the dots. It's not like.
Can you?
Yeah, I can connect the dots with all that sort of behaviour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's behaviour even today. Like I've got, you know what? I'm a sucker for a black t-shirt. You know,
okay.
I've got enough black t-shirts. Don't need no more. You know, why am I going to buy another?
How did you connect the dots specifically to a black t-shirt?
Well, because it's like I go in a shop and I think myself, what do I want? And I don't need anything.
Yeah.
And I see a black t-shirt, I think that's safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's safe.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? I don't need it. And I get it, and I feel good at that present second. And then
just buying something. Basically.
As soon as I get it home, and I think myself, like, just another black t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's obsession.
Yeah. It's just accumulating something.
Yeah. I just need it. I want it. Because why do I want it? I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's just the same with drugs.
Yeah.
I want it. I need it.
But you know why you want it.
Yeah. You know, and kind of I'll constantly do that. You know.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, look. Like if anyone likes what we're talking about and wants to get involved, DM us, like, subscribe, share, and kind of and get involved. You know what I mean? It's like it's a part of a conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, men don't talk in general, right? Yeah, but
don't
the thing
they?
is, well, we do. Because
certain things I think, especially my generation, have trouble talking about like feelings. I think, and you know, my dad was just not one for showing love or that sort of thing.
Remember, our parents were involved in the First and Second World War. You know, Second World War mainly. You know, so the thing is, remember, society was shut down in general.
Yeah.
They're shut down to feelings because there was a lot of trauma that they went through that they couldn't pass on the good stuff that we had. You know, like, or whatever, trying, you know.
I think it's just a generational thing as well. Like my grandparents were like that and my parents followed the, you know.
Yeah.
But it's changing, like you say, the younger generation are a lot more open.
So, I mean, how many years did you spend on the pin?
Oh, God, that's a good question. So I started when I was 17, 27, 37, 47,
wow.
40 years.
40 years.
No, I had to stop because I did all my veins in, and I couldn't use a pin. All my veins are gone.
And you're lucky you
And
never lost a leg.
Yeah, I certainly had enough abscesses and
my friend,
and ulcers. Yeah.
I remember when my children were young, and I took them to. I wanted to show them one of my friends, so I was trying to steer them away from taking drugs, and I knew my friend had lost one leg.
Right.
By the time I got to see him, he'd lost both legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in a wheelchair and he's going like that. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking.
Well, I was using in the 90s, and IV methadone. I don't know if you know about the methadone ampoules.
No. Oh no, I've heard about them.
Yeah, well, the West End was flooded with them, and then up to do you know Howard Shipman and the 57 people he supposedly did in? Yeah. Well, after he hung himself, but after the Shipman inquiry, the police and the Shipman inquiry, they linked in with the police, and basically they shut down all the private doctors. But before then, London was flooded with methadone amps, dexamphetamine, Rohypnol, Valium amps. This was just a standard script. You just go to the private doctor, and they'd worked out that, the script maybe cost 120 quid for a month, and you could sell it for, say, 600 quid on Tottenham Court Road. So you could sell half of it, you go to the chemist, sell half of it, and you could use half of it, and it was free, basically. And until the Shipman inquiry, because he was on Pethidine himself,
Pethidine is what they give to pregnant women, is that right? Pethidine.
Do they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. It's like
as an opiate?
Yeah, they give Pethidine and they give an epidural.
Yeah, okay.
So they give the Pethidine first.
Okay, that's
and they inject it into their spine.
Yeah, it's a pharmaceutical opiate,
So it's like a number thing. Because they used to inject Tomazzi eggs as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I've done plenty.
Yeah. You have, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but so all that stuff, so when they stopped that supply...
It was terrible. It was horrendous because, the scripts, and I'm reluctant to even say on this podcast because people are like, there's no way you were doing that quantity of methadone because it's an unheard of amount, But I did a cluck. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that cluck, but yeah, the standard script was 300 ml a day of IV methadone, plus you got the blue juice and the green juice. They flooded you with drugs, basically, the private doctors.
Yeah.
Harley Street, Edgware Road, the West End, the Victoria, there were doctors all over London.
So do you think if them doctors wasn't there?
Well, if those doctors weren't there... my heroin habit would have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
but because I spent decades on this methadone amps, literally decades, and it was literally like you're in a coma, and when the doctors all got struck off, and literally there was no help for you, you had to go onto the juice, onto the green methadone, the drinking methadone, the oral methadone, which was fine, but still it was a massive change from like being totally. You still need,
because methadone doesn't really like buzz you, like like
it doesn't after a while.
The green methadone,
IV methadone with Dexy, it's like the pharmaceutical speedball because you're putting in speed with it as well.
Yeah.
So, and you're shaking it up and then banging it up, but it's like the pharmaceutical speedball. But obviously, when you're on that quantity, heroin doesn't touch the edges. Yeah, there's no one that was using like the private scripts even bothered with brown because it was just a total waste of time.
Yeah.
But I think the GMC were right to close them all down. There's still one going actually, the Stapleford Clinic, but most of them are shut down.
So the thing is, you spent like a good number of years on that.
Yeah.
So, and then when you went to the green methadone, was you using on top of that?
Yeah. That's why I stayed on the methadone because I could use on top.
Yeah.
The only reason I really wanted the methadone script towards the end was because it meant that I didn't have to score brown. I could wake up and not be sick. And if I was sick, I could just go to the chemist.
Yeah.
So I used to tell, my drug worker at the time, like, I don't want methadone to stop the heroin. I want to carry on using the heroin. I just don't want to have to use the heroin.
Right.
Do you get me? That was my logic.
Yeah. So really, you're letting your drug worker, like, there's no room for recovery there, is there? Really?
Well, they didn't mention recovery anyway. They just passed me my script every month, and that was that.
Do you? I mean, personally, I think that if you got someone on a script, you're as in the eyes of the government, you're controlling their habit.
Well, you're stopping them thieving from the middle class and all the crime that's involved. I mean, it's a way of keeping us secluded and hopefully not affecting the rest of the world.
Marching along all together, yeah?
Well, no, not marching on all together, but basically keep them juiced up and they won't affect us.
Yeah.
They won't be doing all the shoplifting and the burglaries and all the other behaviours that we do.
Yeah, that's what they think.
That's what they think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they think.
And if you just stuck to your script, and do I know many methadone? Most people don't. Yeah, they use on top. I think, from my experience, they use on top. They, especially the white, because obviously, if you're on a big methadone script, the brown doesn't work.
So you go to crack.
Yeah.
And then that's got its own different.
Yeah, then obviously you need money.
Yeah, that's right. So that's where the burglaries and the thieving comes in.
Yeah, they'll continue.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose really it's just like a fucking merry-go-round, really. You're just going round and round in circles, aren't you?
You're just trying to. Yeah, you're trying to swim, aren't you? The whole thing about drug use is you're drowning and you're trying to stay afloat.
Yeah.
And it's just a horrible place to be, but you don't realise it at the time. But you know.
So how many years was you under the drug workers?
What post amps?
Yeah,
the amps stopped in about 2001 or 2002, I think. So since then, it's been 20 years, not of continuous green methadone. I think sometimes I was, because there's prison and all that in between.
And what did you in prison? Did you cluck? Or did
you? I mean, I did a terrible cluck in prison because there was a time in the 90s, I think, where a couple of kids had OD'd in Brixton and they weren't giving methadone out in any London prison. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
But yeah, the government, there was a lot of compensation given to people that had to do cold turkey detox. And I was one of them. I didn't get the compensation, but I ended up in the hospital wing in Wandsworth because I was on such a high dose. I was on the private scripts at the time. That was, I was banged up with a it's just horrendous. You can imagine you're clucking off 300 ml methadone. You're on the top bunk. You can't move. You've got an armed robber underneath you, and you're fucking trying to get off 300 ml. I mean,
and you're sweating like a fucking.
Oh my god, you're restless, and you're worried about making too much movement because this guy's might kick off.
Yeah,
it's just fucking nightmare. Honestly, it's I can't describe.
So we're talking like 40.
It was trauma.
That's like a career.
Oh, well, yeah.
40 years is like a career.
Well, it is a career. It's a career of drug use, yeah.
Yeah, so what changed?
What changed was towards the end, I couldn't keep, I wasn't able to finance the habit to the extent that I had. And I'd literally pushed, or nobody, either I'd pushed them away or nobody wanted to know me, because I'd let myself go completely.
Yeah.
And so I got to a place where I was so lonely and desperate. I mean, but I think it was the loneliness that got me. But I mean, I was always thinking about suicide and death. I just didn't want to exist anymore. And then what happened to me was I'd been recalled to prison because I couldn't make it to probation. I had trouble like getting out into the world.
Yeah.
I literally secluded myself, and I'd done a 28-day recall because I'd missed probation because I wasn't even opening my letters, making phone calls. I was really disconnected and I was in a horrible place, but I was looking at a full recall. Yeah. And I just wasn't willing to spend, I think I was looking about 18 months in Belmarsh, and I thought, fuck it, man. And
was you on a robbery charge?
No, I was on a drug dealing charge.
Drug dealing charge,
yeah.
So that kind of, because when you're drug dealing, obviously, your drugs, you say your drugs are for free, yeah? Yeah. The end of my using, I have to sell a box to get an ounce for myself for a week.
Right.
But I'm driving myself mad to try to chase the money so I can get my other ounce for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm trying to do a box a week.
Right.
Yeah. To kind of keep myself afloat.
Yeah.
and it is fucking hard because you know what? No one's paying, yeah, or they're late,
Yeah.
or they're giving me half of what they're meant to give me.
Yeah.
But they want more gear, but I can't get them more gear because I need to pay for the gear because if I, like, it's just kind of a
It's
round.
Yeah.
You know what? I was fortunate that I never got lifted. A lot of my friends did, and done lots of sentences and big sentences. And I was so lucky that I kind of didn't get lifted for it.
Yeah.
You know? I was so lucky. But the thing is, you know what? I look back at that now and I think to myself, well, you know, it's all part of my experience. You know,
maybe if you had got lifted, you would have
do you know
gotten earlier.
Well, maybe if there was a drug dealers anonymous, I would have gone to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I never went to. I never got there. You know. So
yeah, but it might have given you that break to say. I don't know. Some people seem to get.
Do you know what? When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know,
but maybe it's meant to be earlier.
Yeah,
I don't know about this meant to be stuff. To be honest.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, you can live your best life today. It's the best that you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your life's a million times better
today. It is.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Come on.
Yeah, of course.
You can't even.
No. Of course. I mean, I was in the pits of despair, and you know, my day was literally spent on my bed or in my bed. And
do you know what? I get that. I remember lying to people. Saying, "Oh, would you get up to the weekend?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't fuck all."
Well, there were no people in my life to lie to be honest.
I was still selling drugs. So
yeah. You were actually out in the world. So that wasn't my story towards the end. Honestly, it wasn't. I just wasn't capable.
I remember making out sometimes when people ring me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd make a big like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm asleep. I've been up for 2 days. I'm asleep. Like, I'm charging you double, right? Because you're out of hours.
And they paid it, I bet. They'd be happily paid it.
Yeah. You know, I'll give you more. I'll go, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I'll put that in a kitty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you, what changed, like we said?
Well, I mean, I was really fortunate in that there's a girl that worked for probation. Yeah, she's a recovery worker called Laura, young German girl. Not in recovery herself, but I had like 4 or 5 appointments with her, and I could never make it. And she called me up one day and said, "Listen, Grant, you're going to get a recall, full recall. You have to come and see me." Yeah, and you know, she persuaded me. Well, I mean, whatever. Anyway, I went to see her, and I managed to get on a bus to Bexley Heath probation, and I saw her, and I said, "Listen, Laura, I'm really struggling to make these appointments, and I need help." You know, I actually said to her, "Laura,
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, okay.
I warned you this.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. If anyway, I said, "Laura, I need help." And she said, "Listen, Grant, it's not going to be easy, but just do one positive thing a day." And basically, it was just anything. Yeah, it was like, "Listen, Grant, you come and see me on a Monday. On Tuesday, you've got probation. On Wednesday, you pick up your script. What are you going to do on Thursday?" And there happened to be a recovery meeting at the place where I picked up my script on a Thursday, so I went along to that. And you know, I mean, as I've been so disconnected, like even getting to these places, you know, especially if it was a place I'd never been before, you know, I didn't even know how to get there. You know,
is that where I saw you?
It was in Charlton. My first time.
I know the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went along. No, the first couple of times I tried to get to Blackheath, and I ended up in Lewisham. And then the second time I tried to get to one, I fucked up again. But I didn't really care because
you were trying.
I was patting myself on the back all the time.
You were trying, weren't you?
I was trying, and I was saying, she said to me, "Grant, this is going to be difficult, but you can do it." So I say to myself, "This ain't going to be easy.
Mm.
And I kept saying that to myself. Of course, you know, even if I fucked up, I'd be like, doesn't matter, mate. You're moving forward. It was the first time I'd done something for myself positive. I mean, I was still using every day. Don't get it wrong.
What, you was using
I was
street
using,
drugs?
yeah, street drugs. Yeah. But my attitude had changed because and then obviously after shortly afterwards, I met people in recovery and they were no different from me.
So you were still on methadone?
Oh, I was still on methadone, yeah.
So how was the reduction like? What was that like?
I'd already started reducing, funny enough. So I was only on about, I think, 40 mil.
Yeah, and that's a good. It's not like the 70s and the 80s.
Or the 300s.
Yeah, the 300s. You know what I mean? That's a big drop, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, so I was on.
Something was changing, though, wasn't it? Something.
Well,
had changed.
I mean, she actually mentioned to me that she has some clients on Subutex, and it had never even occurred to me that Subutex was a possibility for me. I was like. She didn't actually say, "Have you thought about Subutex?" She just said she had some clients on Subutex, and that lodged in my brain. So I was still on the juice.
Because you got Subutex and Aspinall as well, haven't you? You got. No.
Yeah, I don't know much about that.
They said Aspinall is the
injection one, is it?
No. What it is, a Subutex you can crush up and sniff.
Okay.
And what they realised was a lot of the places, the drug places, drug key workers and what it is, Aspinall, it dissolves under your tongue, so you can take it there and then. And
I think that must have been what I was on then.
Yeah,
maybe I was on that.
Yeah, but it's the same type of thing.
Yeah,
and the Subutex, the Subutex kind of ease everything down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was another major thing for me was moving from methadone to Subutex. Yeah,
change, isn't it?
Not just change, and just like it's just a big move to make when you've been on methadone for a long time. And I'd been on the methadone and heroin, and a couple of times I might be clucking or something, and I found Subutex, or someone offered me Subutex, and I'd taken it. And I'd taken it when I was on other opiates, and it has an antagonistic effect.
Yeah.
So that if you take it when you're on other opiates, you go into immediate withdrawal.
Yep.
And it's
hard.
It's hardcore. It's hardcore cluck, basically. So, and that's, so it's a scary thing. That scared the fuck out of me, changing from methadone. You have to wait. You have to be off the methadone for a good 36, if not 48 hours. So you have to be clucking. If you're banging trouble and you take your Subutex for the first time, it's like, whoa, that takes the edge off. But if you take the Subutex too soon, you're just banging trouble. So
what was the withdrawal like from Subutex to clean?
That was okay, funny enough, because I came down 0.4 milligram every 2 weeks.
That's dedication.
Yeah,
that's
dedication.
It took 5
months.
That's dedication, isn't it?
It took 5 months, yeah.
Yeah, but it took 5 months, but that is dedication, though.
Yeah, I wanted to be clean.
And then what did you hear when you went to these meetings?
In the meetings, I heard that I had hope that I could do it. That was the big thing for me. I heard other people had done what I was trying to do, and I got hope. And I'd been living in hopelessness.
Yeah.
So that I've never ever felt hope like I got after maybe my third time I went to a meeting. I got hope, and I thought, these guys are doing it. I can do it.
That's what I got when I first went to a meeting, and I said, I had a line 2 hours before I come to this meeting, but I don't want to do it anymore. And everyone clapped. They went, well done. And I thought, I ain't really that much. Yeah. But I realised how big that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what it is, we help each other in these meetings.
Yeah.
We help each other get through stuff, and and it's all about abstinence and staying clean and keeping clean, and there's a lot more to it than.
Is there?
there's a lot more to it than just stopping.
Bloody right.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much more to it than just stopping, because I have to live my life in recovery, warts and all. I've had some things happen to me, and I think, what the fuck? But I have to look at that in order to accept how good my life is today. I have to accept how bad it was.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be.
I don't know about the meant to be
Warts-
bit, but
warts and all. Well,
Yeah.
because look, if I can live a good life today,
yeah,
and I think, fuck me, where did that come from? Yeah, I have to accept I had to go all the way down that road. I had to go for all them years of
Yeah,
pain.
but plenty of people live a good life without going down that road. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they're not addicts.
Yeah.
They're not addicts. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I
It's a
can't.
curse. It's a curse.
Do you know?
Some people say, "Oh, my addiction is a blessing." You know, I was like,
Well, that's what we
mate.
talk about.
It's a
We talked about the
curse.
gratitude of my car being stolen and stuff like that, you know, and my car being broken in and stolen and, you know, all that. And I have to look at that and go, well, it's meant to be. I didn't want that to happen. I didn't encourage that to happen.
No.
I didn't really, I didn't expect it to happen, but it happened.
Yeah, but where does the meant to be bit get? I mean, this is the bit that I've trouble with. Where's the meant to be? How's that meant to be?
Well, okay, well,
I mean, it shouldn't have happened.
My main thing is, that I don't use,
Yeah.
Rule number 1, don't pick up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rule number 1.
Yeah, of course.
Don't pick up.
Yeah,
Simple as that. Rule number 1, don't pick up. Rule number 2, don't pick up. And all the rest of the rules, don't pick up.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to learn that. Don't matter what comes.
Yeah.
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 Been through grief, been through loss, been through pain, been through heartache, been through breakup, through detachment. I've been through horrible things go on.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
And that gives you confidence that you can go
Well,
through
look, I don't
stuff.
pick up, right? And I talk to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talk to someone and don't pick up.
Nice. Yeah.
So
and I guess that gives you confidence, and no matter what life throws at you, you'll be okay.
And that goes for you too.
Yeah, except I haven't had to deal with anything.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Why worry about that?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying when those challenges come, whether I can maintain the recovery or not is a different story.
But the thing is, look how far you've come.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you know? I know how.
I mean, listen, I watched you from 5 months ago.
Yeah,
and there's been a massive change in you.
Thank you.
Your head is higher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I couldn't look anyone in the eye. Yeah.
Grant, you've got involved, and you're living life in recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what it is, you can do it. If you can do it, anyone else can do it.
Well, that's what I'd like to believe, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, if there's anyone out there that are going through what you've been through, anyone out there, it's achievable.
Yeah.
With the right help. I mean,
with the right help, that's the thing. So, if you know anyone who's struggling,
I mean, the main thing is, look when you asked that lady for help. Yeah. And something had shifted and something had changed.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this is the way I live my life today. Yeah, if it wasn't for some horrendous night amongst thousands of horrendous nights, this one night in particular. Yeah. You know, I remember I've fallen in front of a bus and I looked to the left of me and there was a curb. That curb looked like a mountain. And the police are picking me up off the floor. And I looked and I thought, how did I get here?
Wow.
How the fuck did I get in my gutter? I was in that gutter. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
That's where I belonged. I felt.
Yeah.
That's meant to be. I'm afraid. Because you know what? It was a moment that I was because I tried to jump off a bridge after that. And I realised that I was in blackout when I was going to do that. And I realised that memory had been taken away from me, you know, of me standing on that bridge. Yeah, because my stuff was there. My belongings were there on the bridge when I went back the next day. So I saw, you know, that was there. Wow. And that was laid out like that, you know, like, and apart from a phone that I lost. And if it wasn't for losing that phone, the guy would never have found my phone to say to me, come round to his house, for me to go round there and say, I'm fucked.
No way.
And then he said, do you want help?
Work.
And I said, yes, please.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I want help.
Yeah.
Out of everything, I went round to the person who was armed with the facts.
Yeah.
And he took me.
It's an amazing coincidence.
He took me to my first meeting.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's lovely.
And I'll tell you another strange thing as well. The night that I was in front of that bus and on a bridge was the day that my brother died in 1969.
Oh, wow. That's even more coincidence.
And I didn't even know that.
Wow.
So I looked at that and I thought, fuck me, I'm meant to be here, bruv.
I don't know about the meant to be, but I mean, don't start throwing in higher power stuff. It's too coincidental to be a coincidence and all.
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
It's a coincidence.
Do you know
It's an
what?
amazing
I
coincidence.
couldn't have planned it. You know?
No.
Anyway, Grant, you know what? I'm going
Yeah.
to ask you this, yeah?
Yeah.
Will you come back?
Oh yeah, of course. I've been more than
Okay.
happy to. Yeah.
You know, and I'm here to help you any way I can, yeah?
Yeah, I appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
You know, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
And what I'm doing, like, fantastic message, you
Thank
know?
you.
So if anyone's out there,
Yeah.
that has gone through what Grant has been through, an amazing story. And I'll tell you, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass.
Nice. Thank you.
You know, the way you've done it, there's loads of guys that I know that are trying to do this and doing it and done it. And I know that you can do it too.
Yeah.
You know, DM us, you know,
Yeah.
kind of, you know, there's always help there if you need it.
Yeah.
You know,
Contact. Reg.
Always help there.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Loved Ones Forever. If you want to know about them, contact us. And what I'd like to say, share, subscribe, like, share. You know, we're here for you.
Like
you know,
and
men don't
subscribe.
talk. You know?
Like and subscribe.
Thank you very much.